You probably have seen those videos where Tesla Model S is challenging a McLaren. We test the 2020 McLaren GT Grand Tour Supercar this week to see if it lives up to its name and mandate. Torque News reporter, senior reporter John Goreham was given a McLaren GT, which has 612 horsepower engine, ample space for 2 passengers and their luggage and the look of a true supercar. So John took the GT on a grand tour of the Atlantic coastline to see how well it serves its real mission in the McLaren lineup. Check out John's video of this review of McLaren GT 2020. A focus of John's review is on the grand touring aspect of the car and the discussion of the grand touring driving dynamics offered by this amazing vehicle. Let's see how this turns out. With this, I'm turning to John. Thank you, John, for this review, and let's see what John has to say about McLaren 2020 GT.
Hello everybody, John Goreham from Torque News here, and today we're testing the 2020 McLaren GT. It's a new model for the company with a little bit of a focus on luxury instead of just pure track performance. We've had a chance to drive this car all day today, and we have to say that it fills its grand touring role perfectly. The car has outstanding looks. It's in Ludus blue. And we really like the mid-rear engine design of this car. It has a great look, very modern, very futuristic. You've got the big old Ventador type styling there. And it's pretty low slung and sleek. You get a lot of wows when you drive this car down the road. I'm going to pop one of the doors open for you here so you can see that it does have true supercar bling. If you're in the 3 comma club, this would be the car for you. It's got the doors that go up instead of out. Really like the interior on this car. Again, the emphasis here on luxury is obvious. Everything is leather. Everything is leather. The dash, the seats, the entrance panels, every part of this car that makes sense to coat in leather has been. It's just a beautiful interior, very functional. The shifting mechanism is a little unusual, but easy to use. As you can see underneath the floating panel, plenty of knee room for those taller drivers, right knees. That's important to me. And then the magic ceiling can dim or become more see-through with the touch of a button. So it's very nice on long rides. The car has also got great storage, surprisingly good. It's got a frunk. And I love frunks. In there you could put easily a pair of small overnight bags or a large carry-on type suitcase and a lot of other things, maybe some snacks on your trip. It's also got a great rear cargo area. The rear cargo area is very large. Plenty of opportunities here for a set of golf clubs or maybe even, some hockey equipment if that's your bag. Lots of real world usable cargo area. The engine is underneath the white compartment, so it's not showing it off, which I think is unfortunate. People like to see that in a car that's a supercar. As you can see, the seat backs are carbon fiber. Pretty much everything that's not leather or some kind of an alloy is carbon fiber in this car. Got some serious tires on this thing. They're so fat in the back. They look like Fred Flintstone's tires. You got the twice pipes, and the car has got a nice burble to it. It's not super loud. Your neighbors won't hate you. We really had a great time in this vehicle. With over 600 horsepower, the get up and go is there in every mode. We drove it in comfort mode most of the time. The truth is that over suburban roads, any other mode's a little bit stiff, and the throttle response is really just amazing in comfort mode. Had we an opportunity to be on track, we would have tried sport and track modes. That'll be for maybe the fall if we're lucky this year. So again, 2020 McLaren GT. We can't say enough good things about this car. Just absolutely fantastic for grand touring. Beautiful interior, very functional. The shifting mechanism is a little unusual, but easy to use. As you can see underneath the floating panel, plenty of knee room for those taller drivers, right knees. That's important to me. And then the magic ceiling can dim or become more see-through with the touch of a button, so it's very nice on long rides. The car has also got great storage, surprisingly good. It's got a frunk, and I love frunks. In there you could put easily a pair of small overnight bags or a large carry-on type suitcase and a lot of other things, maybe some snacks on your trip. It's also got a great rear cargo area. The rear cargo area is very large. Plenty of opportunities here for a set of golf clubs, or maybe even, you know, some hockey equipment if that's your bag. Lots of real world usable cargo area. The engine is underneath the white compartment, so it's not showing it off, which I think is unfortunate. People like to see that in a car that's a supercar. As you can see, the seat backs are carbon fiber. Pretty much everything that's not leather or some kind of an alloy is carbon fiber in this car. Got some serious tires on this thing. They're so fat in the back. They look like Fred Flintstone's tires. You got the twice pipes, and the car has got a nice burble to it. It's not super loud. Your neighbors won't hate you. We really had a great time in this vehicle. With over 600 horsepower, the get up and go is there in every mode. We drove it in comfort mode most of the time. The truth is that over suburban roads, any other mode's a little bit stiff, and the throttle response is really just amazing in comfort mode. Had we an opportunity to be on track, we would have tried sport and track modes. That'll be for maybe the fall if we're lucky this year. So again, 2020 McLaren GT. We can't say enough good things about this car. Just absolutely fantastic for grand touring. Hello again, everyone. This is John Goreham from Torque News. I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive here on the interior of the McLaren GT. This is McLaren's new 2020 model that focuses a little bit more heavily on luxury and a little less on track performance. The interior's got some interesting features. For example, the paddle shifters, when you pull them, they toggle the opposite paddle. It's kind of a cool effect, and they have a really just like perfect actuation in your fingertips. The detent where they actuate is just, you know, just so precise. The information display is outstanding. You have the ability to change the information without any difficulty. It doesn't take very long to learn how to use the infotainment system in this vehicle. If you take a quick look here at the main infotainment panel, you'll see that you've got your climate controls, and I really like the little man wearing a helmet inside the vehicle. It's kind of a fun touch. You know, when I head over to your main menus, you just press one button. Everything is there. There was a time when supercars were lagging in infotainment. I think to some degree they're still a little behind with certain manufacturers. For example, there is no wireless Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay in this vehicle, and that's something that you might find in, for example, a BMW model. But I'm not sure it's really to be expected the first year that stuff is available. This car is more focused on driving dynamics and the grand touring overall experience, I think. Looking down a little more closely here at the shifter, the way that it works is you're in either neutral, or you're in drive, or you're in reverse. And to keep the vehicle from rolling away, you have got a parking brake that you actuate. And the parking brake acts as park in effect. So when you park the car, you're in neutral with the parking brake on. And when you move the vehicle, you're in drive or you're in reverse. Pretty straightforward system. You've got your driving dynamics rotating knobs here, one for the electronic stability control, and the other helps with the driving dynamics. You've got sport and track settings as well as comfort. We spent almost all of our time in comfort because frankly in the suburbs that's really the way to go. Here you've got a Bowers & Wilkins premium sound system. It sounds great. The car does have a little more interior noise than a typical luxury sedan, and that's partly because you're in the car with your engine. When the engine is right behind your right ear, you're going to hear a little more, despite the lovely leather cover that McLaren has installed. When you're inside the vehicle, to change the opacity of the roof, you simply touch here and here, and it'll make the roof either darker or lighter to let in more or less sun. The seat controls are kind of novel. They're sort of tucked away really in the corner of the seat, almost as an afterthought. There is a little bit of a learning curve there, but you know, you're going to spend a lot of time in your McLaren, so why not have a little bit of a learning curve there. We didn't find anything to dislike about this vehicle. We really love the interior, and when you want to exit, you simply pull up, and then the door just lifts. It just glides. A power operating door might seem like something you'd want, but literally you can do this with 2 fingers. The door opens and closes very simply. You get your power operated windows. There's really not much else to say. Is there storage? Sure, there's storage. You got a normal center console where you can store all your necessities of the day. And then behind the seats, it looks to be a little bit more storage cubbies on each side, sort of like a Miata or a Fiat Spider. And overall, we really found the car to be comfortable. There's 3 cup holders. There's one right at your fingertips, and then there's 2 more tucked away down underneath the floating center console. So plenty of interior storage space, plenty of storage space in the front and also in the hatchback, I guess you'd have to call it, area. You get a very large storage area behind you. The parcel shelf has a nice bar to keep your cases of cans from smacking you forward if you brake hard. So we found the car to be very livable. We went shopping in the vehicle. You'll see from the pictures in the story. And we found it to be overall very, very user-friendly in addition to being a supercar. Hello again, everyone. This is John from Torque News. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the driving dynamics of the McLaren GT. We had the vehicle for about 24 hours, and we spent a lot of the time in the vehicle driving. We didn't have an opportunity to do a full GoPro setup, but frankly, when you're driving around in the suburbs, I'm not sure what the point of that is. But we'll just start the car real quickly here. I think you can probably hear from the start button, there's a little bit of a grumble to the engine. But unlike some exotic cars and supercars, we're going to say that the McLaren GT is really sort of neighborhood friendly. It doesn't have the bark that you're going to find in a Maserati, or you might find in an Alfa 4C, or some other cars that have an alternative exhaust note. It's really just about perfect. You can hear the back burble when you decelerate, and it makes great sounds. You can really, with the windows down particularly, you can really hear the turbos, wastegates when they open, and you get a real whoosh sound and like a whistle. Sounds very high tech. The twin turbo V8 is just outstanding in this car. I mean, really, it could be the last of the V8s as electricity takes over for liquid fuels in terms of performance, but we really found the car to have outstanding driving dynamics. The road, you have a beautiful view ahead. I mean, the greenhouse in this car looks small from the outside, but when you're inside, I mean, any way you turn your head, you have a very, very nice view of the outside. Straight ahead, the A-pillars, they're a little bit meaty, but they certainly were never in our view. The mirrors work perfectly. Although you're low, you can still see adequately on the highway what's around you. Rear view mirror is completely unobstructed. Perfect view out the back. You don't have there's no blind spots in this car. Over your right shoulder, I mean, I'm back here well past 90 looking out the back of the car. There's really no blind spots in the vehicle, which is unusual for supercars. Usually you've got some kind of a buttress in your way or some kind of a structure. So when you're on the road in the McLaren GT, what you'll find is that in comfort mode, it's adequately soft and smooth, but where the roads are the most broken up, over construction areas, bad spring roads, it is rougher than most conventional cars. Is it rougher than a sports car like a Civic Si or a Civic Type R? No, it's not. It's certainly not. It's a lot less rough over rough roads than some of the sporty Audis we've driven, and certainly some of the sportier BMW and Mercedes vehicles. So it has some good compliance. I'll leave a track test review for later. There may be an opportunity for us to test this vehicle on track in the fall. And when it does, we'll ring it out and we'll use sport and we'll use track modes at that point. I don't think we'll be turning off the stability control completely, but we may, switch it over to sport and track as well, so we can hang out the tail a bit. Maybe not, but anyway, we found this vehicle to be an excellent Grand Tourer, which is what it is. This is not McLaren's hot track vehicle, although it would certainly be a welcome companion on any track day. This is a Grand Tourer, and you've got more than enough luggage space to pack this vehicle and go away for a long weekend with your significant other. And it is really very livable on the road. Just by coincidence, we back-to-backed this vehicle with the Honda Civic Si, which is one of our favorite affordable sporty cars, and a good benchmark for steering sharpness and some other driving dynamics in the real world. And this vehicle really, you can feel the difference immediately. Although the Civic Si is fun, yes, it's like a tenth of the price point, but it is a very good car. This vehicle being rear drive, there's zero torque steer. I mean, when you move the wheel even a fraction of an inch, you get a response that you can really control. And, on and off ramps are a blast. Any kind of like sharp turn that you'll find on a lonely country road, just outstanding in its, in its ability to make the driver really feel the road. What would I add to a McLaren GT for enhanced driving experience? Well, the first thing would be, of course, I would do some kind of a removable roof panel, like the Corvette has, or perhaps just go all the way and make it a convertible. The ability to open the windows on the sides is nice. There's really no B-pillar in your way to sort of get in the way of your hanging an arm out the window. But I like my Grand Touring vehicles to have a topless design of some type. The Miata RRF, the Miata with the power retractable hardtop from the NC generation, certainly a hardtop convertible like the Lexus IS350C or the BMW 4 Series. These are all vehicles that allow you to experience more of the outdoors when you're Grand Touring. So I would not be surprised if McLaren someday offers a GT with that feature. So thanks again for your patience and listening to our long videos on the McLaren GT. We felt it was worthy of about 10 minutes or 12 minutes of total video time. And watch for a Torque News review in the fall of this vehicle on track. It just may happen. And if it does, we'll do a little bit more dynamic on-road video shooting. Thanks again.